the headlines of VTV News, top leader visits school named after late President Ho Chi Minh in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Restoration efforts intensify in Ha Giang after devastating floods. And in our world news, Israel launches ground operation in southern Lebanon.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VTV News broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. Party General Secretary and State President To Lâm visited inter-level school number 14, named after President Ho Chi Minh, in Ulaanbaatar on Tuesday as part of his state visit to Mongolia. Founded in 1949, the school is a key institution for nurturing Mongolian talents. To commemorate President Ho Chi Minh's 90th birthday in 1980, Mongolia named the school after him. In the school's memory book, Party General Secretary and State President To Lâm expressed his delight at visiting one of Mongolia's major national schools, which has educated many of the country's brightest minds. He voiced his hope that the school's teachers and students would continue to uphold their proud tradition, fulfill their duties, meet the expectations of the Mongolian people, honor the school's name, and strengthen the friendship between Vietnam and Mongolia. At the Vietnam Innovation Day 2024 and the 5th anniversary of the National Innovation Center, or NIC, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính outlined 3 key viewpoints on promoting innovation. Firstly, innovation must be a strategic choice, an objective requirement, and a top priority to drive industrialization, modernization, and sustainable development. Secondly, people and businesses, especially the younger generation, must be at the center of innovation as subjects, goals, driving forces, and essential resources. Lastly, he highlighted key tasks to promote this process, including improving institutions, increasing infrastructure investment, attracting funding, developing high-quality human resources, enhancing national governance, and fostering international cooperation. During the events, the Prime Minister officially declared October 1st as Vietnam's annual National Innovation Day. An investment of $67 billion has been allocated for the largest and most modern project in Vietnam, which will have the longest construction timeline to date. This high-speed railway will run along the north-south route. Based on comprehensive and practical calculations, the current capital needed for the project is feasible and manageable.
For nearly 15 years, the high-speed railway project along the north-south axis has been studied and assessed. In 2010, with a GDP of $147 billion, the proposed investment of $56 billion accounted for 38% of GDP and pushed public debt to nearly 57%. However, with this year's GDP projected to exceed $465 billion, the $67 billion investment for the railway is no longer a significant barrier.
These projects are transformative. If they are done properly, if they're well prepared, these projects in other parts of the world have been transformative. Now, this is, of course, a project of strategic importance to the government of Vietnam, and we're looking forward to the progress of that project, in terms of...
The Ministry of Finance's assessment indicates that by 2030, all 3 criteria, namely public debt, government debt, and external debt, will be 5 to 15% below the allowable level.
Vietnam's public debt is currently 37%, well below the allowable level of 60%. By fully utilizing this potential, we could access $100 billion.
Vietnam needs to consider attracting additional resources for components such as stations and trains.
The high-speed railway project is expected to take 10 years to become fully operational, requiring an average annual investment of about $5.6 billion. This represents 24.5% of the public investment capital for 2021-2025, decreasing to around 16.2% for 2026-2030. These figures are manageable for the projected economy.
Vietnam's fruit and vegetable exports have reached a new record high, totaling nearly $5.7 billion in the past 9 months, nearly equal to last year's entire export turnover. The key factors driving the growth of this billion-dollar industry are a focus on innovative production linkages and improved quality.
Every year, this enterprise exports about 2,000 tons of durian to the U.S. and Chinese markets. With stable demand and output, this year, the enterprise has strengthened its production chain with farmers to ensure a reliable supply of goods. Thanks to this, the enterprise expects to grow by about 25% in 2024.
This year, the output of durian in the West region is 1.5 times higher than last year. The farmers have planted and cared for the trees meticulously, resulting in very high-quality fruits.
We provide farmers with guidance in following all procedures required by the importing countries.
According to the Vietnam Fruit and Vegetable Association, in the past 9 months, fruit and vegetable exports reached nearly $5.6 billion USD. This value matches the entire export turnover of 2023, an unprecedented increase for Vietnam's fruit and vegetable export industry. Durian has made the strongest breakthrough, while dragon fruit, bananas, jackfruit, passion fruit, and mangoes have also significantly contributed to this export growth.
Vietnam's fruit season typically runs from March to October. Such growth is a positive sign for the entire year 2024.
9 out of the 10 main markets importing Vietnamese fruits and vegetables recorded strong growth, with the Netherlands being the exception. China remains the largest market, followed by the US, South Korea, and Thailand. Experts predict that the export turnover of Vietnam's fruit and vegetable industry may exceed $7 billion USD for the first time this year.
Thái Nguyên province has ramped up efforts to boost the value of its agricultural products by actively supporting local OCOP, One Commune, One Product initiatives and exemplary rural industrial goods in their trade promotion activities. More in the following.
In Thái Nguyên province, sharing inspiring stories and compelling narratives behind their products has become a routine practice for cooperatives and farmers. This approach enables consumers to engage directly with their offerings. Events like the Mekong Delta OCOP Product Connection Forum has significantly expanded the reach of Thái Nguyên agricultural brand, boosting its overall value.
This creates an opportunity for us to showcase the specialty products of Thái Nguyên. More importantly, we can spread the cultural value of tea to other provinces.
Thái Nguyên proudly boasts over 240 OCOP products, along with numerous outstanding rural industrial items. Regular participation in trade promotion activities, particularly in expansive markets like the Mekong Delta, provides local cooperatives and OCOP entities with valuable opportunities for knowledge exchange and collaboration.
When I visited the OCOP booth from Thái Nguyên in Kiên Giang, I was impressed by the diverse range of products, from branding and packaging to the items themselves.
Supporting nearly 450 agricultural cooperatives, provincial departments and agencies are guiding these units in completing their processes, obtaining food safety certifications, and implementing traceability measures to achieve OCOP standards.
We provide comprehensive support, from enhancing management capacity to financial assistance, trade promotion, product labeling, and certification for agricultural cooperatives.
Having consistently participated in trade promotion activities in the Mekong Delta with notable results, Thái Nguyên province is committed to further expanding its market presence nationwide, aiming to export key agricultural products and enhance the value of local produce.
And before we move to the next part of VTV News, let's check out how the Vietnam đồng is weighed against other currencies in the world market today. Coming up next, restoration efforts intensify in Ha Giang province after devastating floods. And landslide survivors sharing heart-wrenching stories. About 1,400 households are living in landslide-prone areas that haven't been relocated, particularly in the mountainous districts of Khanh Hoa and Đắk Rông. Khanh Hoa district alone has 45 landslide risk points, with 19 of them at very high risk. Local authorities have instructed residents to take proactive measures to prevent and respond to landslide risks. However, the urgent need now is to mobilize resources for building 8 resettlement areas, as only 3 have been built so far. In Đắk Rông district, a section of the Ho Chi Minh Road East branch passing through Húc Nghi commune has recently been added to the landslide risk area. Relentless rains and floods in Bắc Quang district, Ha Giang province have claimed 3 lives and left 3 people missing. The severe weather has significantly damaged transportation infrastructure, causing major landslides along National Route 2 at kilometer 50, a vital link between Ha Giang and Tuyên Quang. Authorities are working tirelessly to restore access and ensure safe travel.
Nearly 30,000 cubic meters of earth and debris have crashed onto National Route 2, blocking the crucial artery linking Ha Giang and Tuyên Quang. For over 2 days, authorities have deployed nearly a dozen excavators and heavy machinery to address the crisis.
We are deeply concerned that weather conditions may worsen further. Therefore, we insist that rescue teams prioritize absolute safety to prevent any unfortunate accidents.
Multiple sections of Provincial Route 177, which connects Bắc Quang with Hoàng Su Phi district, have suffered landslides. This road was recently upgraded at a cost of nearly $2.8 million.
Given the complex mountainous terrain of Ha Giang, our teams are facing challenges in accessing affected areas. Additionally, the extensive road network requires that recovery operations be carried out in phases.
According to the Ha Giang Disaster Prevention and Search and Rescue Command, the flooding has triggered landslides on numerous inter-village roads, isolating many communities due to complete road blockages. Authorities will focus their efforts and resources on restoring traffic along several critical routes.
The destruction caused by recent flash floods and landslides in VTV commune, Bắc Quang district, Ha Giang province, has been severe. Nearly 1/5 of households in the village have lost their homes or suffered significant damage. 3 lives were lost and 3 individuals remain missing. The accounts of survivors who narrowly escaped the disaster remind us of the increasing unpredictability of natural calamities.
3 days after the landslide, 84-year-old woman has never felt death so close. As debris began cascading toward her kitchen, she instinctively pulled her daughter to safety. Just 10 minutes later, the earth roared, and their home was buried.
My disabled child sat beside me, looking outside. As I dragged my daughter out, the house collapsed. We fell face down on the ground. My child couldn't escape, and she died just a meter away.
For the eldest daughter, survival came at a heavy price. She and her mother escaped, but her younger sister did not.
We thought the high hill wouldn't pose a threat, and we were somewhat complacent, so we failed to move away in time.
In addition to those confirmed dead and missing, 8 others were injured, 4 of whom are in critical condition and are receiving treatment at local hospitals. The recovery process for residents affected by the floods in Ha Giang will be lengthy. New cracks continue to appear in the ground, heightening concerns. The General Staff of the Ministry of Defense has used drones to assess the risk of further landslides, identifying a crack 3 to 5 meters wide that poses a significant threat. Meanwhile, rescue teams are working tirelessly to clear National Route 2 and restore access to the area.
The 126th Naval Special Brigade, in coordination with relevant forces at the scene, continues the search operation in the Phong Châu Bridge area, Phú Thọ Province. 30 divers are participating in the search and working in shifts. The search area extends from Phong Châu Bridge downstream along the Red River to the new Pontoon Bridge area. So far, the remains of 4 victims have been recovered, along with 1 tractor trailer. There are still 4 victims and 7 vehicles that have not been found. The reconstruction of houses damaged by Storm Yagi has begun in Mường Hoa Commune, Sapa Town, Lào Cai Province. To ensure social security and urgently restore housing for affected residents, Mường Hoa local authorities have assessed the damage and developed a plan to address the consequences of this natural disaster. The preliminary budget estimate stands at nearly $92 million. Officials expect to complete the reconstruction of houses for affected households by December the 31st this year, with homes suffering heavy damage to be finished by October the 31st. Corporate social responsibility is a commitment by enterprises to business ethics and sustainable economic development. In response to the Vietnam Fatherland Fund's call, Techcombank, a strategic sponsor, joined representatives of the Hanoi city government to donate $41,000 through the Long Biên District Social Security Fund and 3 city sports federations. Previously, Techcombank had donated $125,000 to support families affected by Typhoon Yagi in the northern provinces. The bank has further pledged an additional $416,000 to help people overcome the typhoon's aftermath. A ceremony welcoming the 9th millionth tourist took place at Cam Ranh International Airport. This milestone marks the province's tourism industry achieving 100% of this year's plan, 3 months ahead of schedule. The 9 millionth visitor arrived in Khanh Hoa on Vietnam Airlines flight VN441 from Incheon, South Korea. Khanh Hoa Province will also launch a tourism stimulus program from October the 11th to the 13th. The number of tourists to Khanh Hoa has increased sharply, with international visitors estimated at 3.6 million, a 147.9% increase over the same period last year, and exceeding this year's plan by 20%. Ha Giang is home to the largest Khmer ethnic population in the Mekong Delta. While facing various challenges, local residents remain dedicated to preserving their traditional cultural identity. At Bung Kro Chap Thmei Pagoda in Long Phu District, Ha Giang Province, monks and people here have established a dance club that hosts numerous meaningful activities.
A pin pad practice session takes place at this pagoda. Young people skillfully play various musical instruments, including wind, string, and percussion. Initially, they faced many challenges in mastering the instruments.
The hardest part was getting to know the sounds of the instrument. We had to practice every day to understand it, and then we could play.
Pin pad music combines instrumental music with traditional Khmer dances, creating unique cultural features that define our people.
Not only do they play musical instruments, but the young people here also taught traditional dances. With a love for ethnic culture, most people enjoy it. Currently, the club has almost 30 members. The youngest is only 10 years old.
I'm a Khmer person, so I love my culture. Every day I invite my friends to come here to practice the traditional dance and then teach the younger children.
During the celebration of Sen Dota, one of the 3 biggest festivals of the year for Khmer people, visitors to any pagoda can enjoy a bustling and exciting atmosphere.
I'm very happy to see young people dancing the traditional dance.
The festival culture and identity of the Khmer people are closely associated with the pagoda. The Khmer people should preserve and promote their cultural identity.
Preserving the unique traditional culture of the Khmer people will contribute significantly to creating a vibrant cultural tapestry of Vietnam's 54 ethnic groups.
Hoan Kiem District, the heart of the capital with its rich cultural and architectural heritage, aims to transform itself into a creative district and art district by integrating creative activities into the old quarters heritage spaces. This initiative demonstrates Hanoi's commitment to promoting creativity and leveraging cultural soft power for sustainable development as part of the UNESCO Creative Cities Network.
A contemporary play inspired by tuồng singing, modern dance and electronic music drew a large audience during its 3-night run at the Vietnam Tuồng Theatre. Before the performances, various events were held throughout the old quarter.
With support from the Department of Culture, the Heritage Division, and the Old Quarter Management Board, this project fosters collaboration between private entities and government agencies.
Hoan Kiem District, home to nearly 200 historical, architectural, and aesthetic relics, focuses on restoration while also investing in heritage-inspired activities and expanding public spaces in the old town.
Integrating creative art into traditional spaces engages the public, particularly international visitors, and helps them appreciate traditional culture in a fresh way.
With this approach, Hanoi has introduced mechanisms to promote community art projects, making the Old Quarter an appealing destination for major cultural and international events.
Since partnering with Hoan Kiem District in 2023, we have combined introducing artists' creations to international organizers with showcasing cultural and heritage spaces to the audience.
In the first 9 months of this year, tourist numbers in central Hanoi exceeded pre-COVID-19 levels. Historical sites has been revitalized and enhanced through art created by the government, residents, and the creative community.
Coming up next in our world news, Israel launches ground operation in southern Lebanon. And UN calls for ceasefire in the Middle East. The Israeli military says it has begun targeted ground raids on villages in southern Lebanon. According to the Israeli military, the operation targeted Hezbollah's infrastructure in villages close to the border. The attack is backed by airstrikes and artillery. The Israeli military had earlier urged residents in 3 areas in the south of Beirut, Lebanon, to evacuate and declared 3 residential areas in the north of Lebanon a closed military zone. Tens of thousands of Israelis and about 1 million Lebanese have been evacuated since the conflict broke out between the Israeli military and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel says it will keep targeting Hezbollah until Israeli residents can safely return to their homes in northern Israel. Meanwhile, Hezbollah says it will continue firing rockets into northern Israel until there's a ceasefire in Israel's military campaign in Gaza. The United Nations and many countries around the world have expressed concern over Israel's ground attack on Hezbollah bases in southern Lebanon. They called on the two sides to prevent the conflict from escalating. United Nations General Assembly President Phie Yang said that tensions between Israel and Hezbollah could lead to conflict across the Middle East. He called on all those with influence on the parties to demand an immediate ceasefire and dialogue, and urged all states supplying weapons to the region to desist from such actions and give peace a chance. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan called on Muslim countries to take economic, diplomatic, and political measures to pressure Israel to accept a ceasefire. Japan also urged Israel and Hezbollah to immediately cease fire and take all possible measures to avoid civilian casualties. Over 600,000 children in the Gaza Strip are deeply traumatized and living in rubble amid a devastating Israeli offensive, the head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, or UNRWA, said on Monday. The UNRWA chief said more than 70% of schools run by the UN agency in Gaza were destroyed or damaged. With no ceasefire, children are likely to fall prey to exploitation. He added, calling on the international community to prevent a repeat of what has occurred in other conflicts around the world. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4go. Goodbye for now.